The Salem witch trials were fueled not by sorcery, but by the friction of close quarters living, where ordinary disputes over fences, livestock, and borrowed tools festered into deadly accusations. In this environment, a casual curse, often just a clapback spoken in frustration or a mutter of discontent, became evidence of a diabolical pact. Welcome to Salem Witch Trials Daily. I'm Josh Hutchinson.
I'm Sarah Jack. Martha Carrier was reportedly angry when land near the Carrier home was granted to Benjamin Abbott. According to Benjamin during the trials, Martha told him she would stick as close to him as the bark to the tree, that he would regret that land grant before 7 years were out, and that the local physician, Dr. Prescott, would never be able to cure him. Sometime after this threat was made, Benjamin had a sore at his foot, and then one in his side, which was lanced, producing several gallons of corruption. He claimed that he continued to have problems with sores until Martha was arrested for witchcraft.
Let's look at some other curses. Maybe the most iconic curse came from Sarah Good. Sarah, who had fallen into poverty, often went door to door begging for charity. When neighbors refused her requests, she would walk away muttering, which those who had denied her interpreted as curses or spells cast in spite. When Sarah and Thomas Gage had a disagreement, likely over such a refusal, Sarah Good was heard muttering as she walked away. The neighbors interpreted this unintelligible grumbling as a curse. The next morning, one of the Gage's cows was found dead, cementing the belief that her anger had lethal power. Her most famous curse occurred at the gallows. When Reverend Nicholas Noyes urged her to confess, she snapped, "I am no more a witch than you are a wizard, and if you take away my life, God will give you blood to drink."
There were more animal curses. Susannah Martin had a history of friction with her neighbors. When a neighbor named John Allen refused to loan her his oxen because they were overworked, an argument ensued. Subsequently, all of Allen's oxen ran into the sea and drowned, an event he attributed to her anger. In another instance, when a neighbor named Robert Downer called her a witch, she reported that a she-devil would fetch him away, a statement he recalled when he was later harassed by a shape resembling a cat.
And there were harvest curses. Margaret Scott was accused of bewitching a neighbor's livestock following a dispute over food. When Daniel Wycombe told her she could not glean corn in his field until he had removed his crop, she reportedly told him, "You will not get your corn out tonight." Wycombe testified that immediately following this interaction, his oxen refused to pull the cart, even though they were only a short distance from his home.
And curses against health. Wilmot Redd of Marblehead was accused when a neighbor, Mrs. Sims, threatened to go to the magistrate regarding a theft. Wilmot Redd reportedly snapped that she wished that Miss Sims might never urinate nor defecate. Following this harsh wish, Miss Sims was seized with a dry bellyache and remained ill for many months, a condition the court attributed to Redd's anger.
As we talked about Sarah Good having curses over asking for gifts, there are also curses over sharing. Sarah Wilds faced long-standing animosity from neighbors in Topsfield. In one instance, John and Joseph Andrews asked to borrow a scythe, but Sarah refused, claiming she didn't have one to lend. When the men found the scythe anyway and took it, Sarah angrily retorted, "It is a brave world if everyone did what they would." Shortly after this confrontation, the neighbors experienced mishaps with their hay, which they blamed on Sarah's ill will. Join us again tomorrow for a chat about the afflicted persons. They weren't just young girls.